Hello and welcome. I'm Robert Trevino, and today this lesson is going to be for the beginners. Basically, if you're just picking up the guitar, you want to kind of get rolling on some chords. So you got to start somewhere. This is a perfect place to start. You study guitar and music in college. These are like the rudimentary curriculum, and you're going to have to learn all these. And there's a good reason for it too, because you're going to use them a lot. And a lot of pros use it too, so it just never goes away. It's always going to be a part of your toolbox as a guitar player. So the first one I'm going to go into is the G major chord. It's going to be over here. If you look at this diagram, it's like a depiction of the guitar neck if it were like this, right? Here's your fat E string, this line, and then you got your skinny, your thin E string. That's going to be this line here. The circles here depict open strings. There's not going to be any fingers on those strings. They're just going to be, let them ring open. You're going to put your third finger on the third fret right here, your second finger on that string, and the fourth finger right there. So what that looks like is this. So if I had it like the diagram, it'd be like this. But if you're looking down on your guitar, this is what you're looking at. All right? That's your G chord. So it sounds like. All right. Okay, the next one is the C chord. This one, probably the most commonly used chord in all of guitar in the guitar world. So you're going to learn this one. You're going to be playing it a lot, I guarantee you. So let's go ahead and learn this one. This position. If I were to put it like a diagram, it looks like this. If you're looking at it straight, that's what you're looking at. Okay? So when you play that, see? Major, it's a happy chord, very powerful open chord. So let's review the G. G major chord to C major chord. Okay? So don't bite off more than you can chew. Don't get impatient with yourself. This is supposed to be fun. Is learning guitar easy? Yes, it is. Is being patient with yourself easy? No, it's not. For the first 5 years I played guitar, I experienced a lot of stress and anxiety and disappointment in myself when I was trying to learn stuff, especially when it came to shredding and playing fast parts and stuff like that. I was putting too much pressure on myself. I stuck with it, and eventually I got it. But in my mind, when I first started, I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to learn this lick or this fill or this solo in a few days, like 4 or 5 days, right? That's not always the case. There's some passages in some Jimi Hendrix solos which I spent over a year learning, honestly, like practicing it. The first section, and the second section, and the third section, and the fourth section, and I put them all together. But I take that first section, like the first couple of bars, practice that until you've got that down, and just don't rush yourself. It's okay. It's not a race, and just kind of take it section by section, and then put the sections together, and eventually you're going to have that entire solo note for note from beginning to end. It's gonna take longer than you're probably expecting. I mean, I think that probably is one of the things that makes people quit the guitar, because they think it's they see somebody or they hear someone and they're like, oh, I can do that. I want to do that. They work really hard, like 2 or 3 nights, and it's not happening for them, and they get discouraged and they just quit. Okay, it's not going to happen that quickly, honestly. You're basically, what you want to do is practice a little bit every night. Go ahead and make a list of the things that you're trying to practice. If you have a metronome, you can have a metronome on your phone. You can use that. There's tons of metronome apps that you can find. So go ahead and pull one of those up and just kind of practice with the metronome. Take your time. You don't necessarily have to like sit in a quiet room and like adamantly like, you know, work really hard at it. Really, once you get the basic form down with your left hand, then pop in the movie, stand in front of the TV, set the metronome, and just, you know, play that chord, play that one chord for 2 hours, right? And then you're more than likely after 2 hours of playing it, and you'll have it by the next day. You know, you still want to practice it, like just keep reviewing the stuff that you're learning, right? So that's kind of, that works with when you're learning scales. You know, just being able to, you know, like I said, put on a movie, so you watch it. You've already gotten to the point to where you like intellectually you understand what you're supposed to be doing, and you can do that. Once you get to that point, you can kind of automatic pilot from that point on, and just, like I said, pop in a movie and just kind of do that one exercise for 2 hours. And I don't know, doesn't always have to be like that, but that's how it worked for me, and it still works for me. I still do that all the time. I can't stand watching a movie with just sitting in a couch and watching a movie and doing nothing. I feel like I'm, you know, yeah, I'm being entertained, but I'm not learning anything, right? I'm not getting better at my instrument. You know, it's not a productive time for me. So I've kind of made that a habit. You know, I watch movies and then you know, play the guitar, like play an exercise while I'm watching a movie, and then there you go. Try that. You'll see. You'll like it. It's more fun. It's not so like rigid and you know strict. It's more of a casual. You know, I'm watching a movie, but I'm kind of, you know, picking around on this chord at the same time. All right. Anyway, I digress. The G chord, G major chord, C major chord. The third one I wanted to show you is D major chord. That's what that looks like. This one, as you can see, the fingers are going to be grouped pretty close together, so it's a little bit tricky, but you know, with practice, it'll eventually happen. And the way this D string, this D major chord, the two fat strings, the E and the A string, you're not going to play those. You're going to omit that from these chords. So you're only going to be playing that open note and then those three notes right there. So what that looks like on the guitar. You see that? See what's going on there? So. Play it all together. Get a good shot of that. There you go. Okay, so that's what that looks like. So, like I said, this is a very common chord that you're going to hear in, especially Western music. Let's just roll with it. I'll show you what I'm talking about. G, C, and D. Here you go. Sound familiar? All right. Start with the C. C, E, G, C, D, G. You can mix that order up anytime, any arrangement that you want, and it's always going to sound good. That's a good place to start. And like I said, after we learn these chords, and we'll go ahead and get into the rest of the major chords in open position, and then after that we'll get into minor chords. What's the difference between major and minor chords? Well, I guess a simplified way to say it is that a major chord inspires a happy feeling. It's a joyful sounding chord, you know, right? Now a minor chord is going to sound a little bit melancholy, a little bit more serious. That would sound more like this. Right? The root note is still the same. You're still in a G. So, you know, G major, G minor. There's tons of different ways to play all these chords and stuff. But right now, just to get you rolling, just learn these first three, kind of hammer away with them, you know, put your metronome on and practice playing on beat. Oh, here's another very important tip. Don't just hold one chord, you know, pressing it down the whole time and just practicing that one chord, right? That's a good place to start because you really want to figure out how to make that chord ring, right? But you also want to know how to get to that chord very quickly, right? You're probably playing over here and you're playing other chords, and then you got to hit that chord, that G chord down there. So an exercise that I thought might be good to share is like kind of like vamping it, you know, so that it gives your brain and your hand a chance to disengage for the neck and then re-engage in the neck, disengage for the neck, re-engage for the neck. I'll show you what that looks like. If you notice, my hands are kind of coming off of the strings in those spaces between the chords, right? I'm not like pressing down the entire time. That would sound like this. Right? What you want to do is like the hits on the 8 notes, you know. See that? So in those spaces, I'm relaxing my hand, and then when I hit the chord again, I'm kind of forcing my brain to realize how to go from scratch to the chord, right? A buddy of mine taught me that like 10 years ago, and I've used that, and I was able to learn like a lot of really, you know, interesting, you know, more jazz chords and stuff. They're hard. There's a lot of barred chords going on in jazz chords. So, you know, practicing the vamp, it's called a vamp. You'll hear people say that. Like a reggae vamp. If you look at it that way, that's a good way to learn chords. You know, learn some reggae songs. It'll kind of force you to, you know, you're not going to have to guess where the chord is. It's going to be right there. It's going to be your hand is going to own it, right? That's what you want. You don't have to think about it. You can think about, you know, emotional expression with the instrument instead of thinking about the mechanics of what your hand is doing, right? So, yeah, let's just review that, just practice that. You know, there's 3 chords that we learned. D, C, G. And yeah, from there we'll learn some more stuff. All right, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it was helpful, and yeah, come back. See you later. Bye.